The goodbye. The train station smelled like rain and coffee. Oleksiy stood by the platform, holding his single suitcase. His hands trembled, not from cold, but from something deeper, the fear of leaving everything he loved behind. Maria was there too, her red scarf fluttering in the wind. She tried to smile, but her lips betrayed her heart. "You'll come back," she said softly. "I will," he answered. "Just a few months. I promise." The train whistled. They hugged, that kind of hug where you hold someone as if time could stop if you wished hard enough. But time didn't stop. When the doors closed, and the train began to move, Maria whispered to herself, "Please, don't let the distance change us." 2. Across the screens. The first months were easy. They called every night, sent memes, laughed about everything and nothing. Maria would write him long messages, about her work, the stray cat she'd found, the smell of lilacs outside her window. Oleksiy replied with photos of Berlin, neat streets, gray skies, endless trains. He worked long hours at an engineering company, trying to save money and send some home. But as time passed, the calls grew shorter. Sometimes he fell asleep before texting her goodnight. Sometimes she didn't answer right away. And slowly, silence started to live between them, not the kind that's peaceful, but the kind that echoes. 3. The missed birthday. It was her birthday. Her friends brought balloons, cheap wine, and laughter. Yet the one message she wanted never came. At midnight, her phone buzzed. A video. Oleksiy's tired face appeared on screen. "Happy birthday, Masha," he said, his voice quiet. "I'm sorry I couldn't call earlier. I miss you more than I can say." Then the video ended, abruptly, like an unfinished sentence. She replayed it twice. Then once more. And cried, not from anger, but from the ache of missing someone you can't touch. 4. Letters never sent. Winter came. Maria started writing letters instead of texts. She liked the feeling of ink on paper, it made her emotions feel real. She wrote about the snow, her mother's illness, the sound of sirens at night. She never sent those letters. They piled up in a box under her bed, unsent, unopened, unspoken. Oleksiy, on the other hand, started walking home alone through the city after work, watching couples laugh in cafes. He thought of her every night. But he didn't call. Not because he didn't care, but because he didn't know what to say anymore. 5. The silence. One evening, Maria's phone rang. It was him. After weeks of silence. "Hey," he said softly. "Hey." They talked like strangers, polite, careful, avoiding the words that used to come easily. Then he asked, "Do you still love me?" She paused. Her throat tightened. "I don't know," she whispered. "Do you?" He didn't answer. And the line went quiet. 6. 2 years later. The world moved on. Maria changed jobs, started writing for a magazine. She smiled more often, but her eyes still carried a trace of something unfinished. Oleksiy stayed in Germany, now fluent in the language, living alone. He had friends, work, stability, but not peace. Every time he passed a train station, he thought of her red scarf. One spring morning, he packed his bag and bought a ticket home. No messages. No warnings. Just a decision. 7. The return. It was raining again. He stood at the same platform where they'd said goodbye years ago. And there she was, Maria, holding an umbrella, her hair a little shorter, her eyes a little older. She froze when she saw him. He smiled, nervously. "I promised I'd come back," he said quietly. For a long moment, they said nothing. The world around them blurred, trains passing, people moving, time flowing. Then she whispered, "You're late." He nodded. "I know." She stepped closer. And for the first time in years, they didn't need words. 8. Epilogue. Later that evening, they sat by the river, watching the lights dance on the water. No plans, no promises, just presence. Distance had changed them both. But somehow, through all the silence and separation, the thread that connected them had never really broken. Sometimes love doesn't need to be constant. It just needs to survive.